the ones that you assist, because they do feel there's more of a powerful movement there. So there's certain other ones where you activate the core muscles and the shoulders and the stomach, and so that one's a really good one too. So there's a lot of, and so I did do summer school this year, and a lot of the students were asking me to do extra brain gym. I have kids making brain gym rocks, posters, and stuff. So.
And do you teach children of all ethnicities and cultures?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And do you find, no matter what the culture, ethnicity?
Oh, for sure. They all really like it.
And what age could a child start with brain gym?
Brain gym can be started from birth with assisted movements. Mm-hmm. Of course, that would be the parents doing it with the child, mm-hmm. and also just simply allowing more movement with our child naturally. Most of the brain gym movements are adapted from movements that children would do naturally if they were allowed more freedom, more time on the floor, because when they're listening to sounds, they're turning their body to move and get closer to those objects that they're hearing or seeing, and crawling to touch.
Well, what I like about brain gym is that it's teaching children to be interested in their own self-care, their own health and well-being.
Right.
It's teaching children to be aware of their own feelings.
For sure, and teaching them tools on how to deal with their stress and how to help themselves, and they feel empowered.
Now I'm jealous. Why didn't we have that when I was growing up?
Right.
All right.
Me too.
Now you brought a chart.
Yes.
If we can get Dan maybe to put it up on the screen. There we go. And I hope our audience can see that. Now, explain what's on the right side, what's on the left side, and what this all means.
Okay, this study was done in 2005 with a classroom of preschoolers who were all on the autistic spectrum. And what they did was they flipped a coin, and on heads, for example, the day they got heads, they did 5 minutes of bilateral movements, and on the days they got tails, they did not. So this chart shows that on the left are the days they did do 5 minutes of the bilateral movements, which reduced the off-task behaviors. So they're on the taller ones are the days they did not do the movements, and shows the off-task behaviors like...
That is amazing.
It's pretty amazing. It
and
is.
The people who recorded this information, the researchers, were they in a blind as to what days they were doing the brain gym exercise?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I'm
not sure. I think it's called.
They did redo this in 2007 with 20 schools with 88 different students, and it was the same results, that they did have a very significant change.
That's remarkable.
Mm-hmm. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Now you're teaching at the Infinity Foundation. By the way, before Dan takes it off the screen, mm-hmm. Was there anything else you wanted to say about that study?
That's about it.
Okay. You're teaching at the Infinity Foundation. Is your class going to be about the brain gym?
It is. It's a family class where children and their parents can come, so that I can be teaching the tools to both the parents and the children. It's a 2-hour class, and what we do, like I said, we have goals, so we'll be doing certain activities and show how the brain gym, after the brain gym activities, or the brain gym movements, that those activities are a little bit easier mm-hmm. to accomplish.
And do you do follow-up visits with the children and the adults?
I do have private practice, so people who are interested, I can see it either. I have an office in my home, and I also use a doctor's office in River Forest.
Mm-hmm. And a pediatrician, by any chance?
He's actually a holistic doctor, internal medicine doctor.
Okay.
So.
You want to say the doctor's
name?
name?
Sure, Dr. Reynes, Integrated Therapies in River Forest.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
And what other types of modalities does he have there?
Oh, he has acupuncture, he has massage, and he has chiropractic.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's great. And so this class is going to be 2 hours long. Mm-hmm. You think it'll be difficult to keep the attention of the children?
Well, it's funny, most of the brain gym classes tend to be 3 days long for the adults, and that seems such a long time, but with all the movement and activity, I think that it'll be great.
Yeah. And can you combine brain gym with other healing therapies?
Sure. I also do visualizing and some meditation with students that have had really great results as well.
And when you say visualizing and meditating, can you elaborate on that?
Sure. I would one of the things that I've had the kids do is they actually allow them to kind of have a fake temper tantrum and stomp their feet in their hands and say no to kind of release the extra energy, since kids don't have very many opportunities to say no to things.
Yeah.
And then I have them close their eyes, and they visualize walking through a field, and they can be flying like a bird or swimming like a dolphin and have this freedom where they don't have those things that they're saying no to. And
how long do your meditations or visualizations go on for?
They maybe 5 minutes or so, not too long, but it's a lot long. That seems like a long time for kids. So I kind of start small and work my way up as they're getting used to.
And do you notice a difference when you're working, let's say, with like a 5-year-old versus a 7-year-old versus a 12-year-old?
Sure, definitely their attention span is shorter, so that, but it also is...
Whose attention span's shorter?
The younger children.
Okay.
So, right, they're it depends if they're interested and if they have a part, like if I give them choices about what animals they're wanting to be visualizing about, and which I usually do, that tends to be a little bit longer, but still the younger children have a shorter attention span.
Did you ever do any analysis as to why children pick a certain animal?
I have not, but that would be an interesting
I
project.
once had a patient who was with anorexia, was under psychiatric care, and she chose a shark, and I said, why a shark? And I go, and she had an eating disorder. So
interesting.
And so, it was like saying sharks had no fear. So she, first she wanted to be a chicken. So she was telling me she had fear. And then I told her what animal doesn't have fear, and she chose a shark.
Excellent.
And then she started with her mouth. So it'd be
interesting. Yes, very
yeah.
interesting.
Now, how do you use Brain Gym with your sons?
Well, I have kind of my own little double-blind study going on, because one of my sons doesn't want to do Brain Gym. He doesn't, if you have children, sometimes they don't like what their parents do, and so sometimes
like all the time.
And my younger son was a little bit more open, and when I had read in Carla Hanford's book in Smart Moves about why the medication is not good for you, our body already does not produce much dopamine. When you take the ADD medication, it gives you too much, and therefore your body stops making dopamine. So when I read that, I talked to him about it, and he was already feeling like it was not working as well. So we decided we would stop and work our way down. This is my younger son, and so he worked his way off the medication and ended up getting a really high score on the ACT off the medication, doing about 10 minutes of the Brain Gym movements a day.
You want to brag about his score?
Yes. Well, he got a 30.
Isn't that a perfect score?
No, 36 is perfect, but it's still really good. He then continued on to do all AP classes. He applied to 6 different universities and got into Claremont McKenna, which is a small, very prestigious school in California, and he got a full tuition scholarship. So that was really excellent.
Nice job.
Yes, so it's very exciting. So my other son, he chose not to do the movements, and he's struggling a little bit more in school. So. And
is it possible, like, your son doesn't want to do the movements because he wants to distinguish himself from his
brother?
Probably,
yes, that's probably true. So.
Do you still put out there that the Brain Gym movements are open to him if he wants?
Sure, of course, yes. And there's certain ones, like certain assisted ones, that he does like to do.
And now that your son's older, does he do the Brain Gym movements on his own?
He does. He knows how much they've helped him, so he does choose to do them on his own.
I sort of wish we would have invited your son to join us.
Oh, he is in California.
Oh, okay.
So that would be kind of hard, but yeah.
Do you have any other Brain Gym success stories?
I do. I have several. I have, if we want to talk about adults, I have one friend who invited me to do a Brain Gym class in California, and I did a class with her this summer, and she's been writing a book, but she's had major writer's block. And since she did the class with me, she's been doing the 4 movements that I taught her, they call PACE, and she's been doing that every day, and her writing's been flowing, and she called me and was very excited about how well her writing is going, so that's been great.
And so do you attribute her flowing of words to the brain gym exercise, increasing the blood flow and the brain function?
Right, what it does is release the tension in the muscles, which signals to the brain there's no more danger, so that she has higher access to the cortex, where that writing and everything would happen.
Right, instead of being wary of the physical danger, the brain could do higher
Exactly,
thinking.
Right. And another woman actually who came to my Infinity Foundation class, my 2-hour class.
You've done this before.
I did the adult one, so it was an adult class. And we learned PACE for the 2 hours. And she had come in and she was really worried because she wasn't sleeping. She had only been sleeping about 2 hours a night. And so her goal was to feel more relaxed and rested. Mm-hmm. And so we did the PACE several times. We had different experiences and how the PACE helped us to function better. And she wrote me an email the next day. She slept all night that next night. And I've kept in contact with her. That was in August. And she's been sleeping every night. So it's a great way for, so many people are having trouble with sleep. So it's a great tool for that.
Yeah, especially in this economy or world environment.
Yes.
Good. Now, what happens if somebody has a physical injury? Is there a way to work around where they couldn't lift their arms?
Yes, there are. Those are where we would assist the movements. If the arms, like I might move the arm for the crossing the midline movements, that happens. And also what's really interesting is there are mirror receptors in our brain, so that just by watching, people can get the benefit of doing the movements, even if they can't physically do it.
And what about visualizing?
So right, and you could visualize the movement. There's a really great study in Russia. There was a horrible train accident in the 80s, and the woman had learned how to do brain gym, and she was a psychologist, and she went to offer her services to these injured people. They had been burned very badly, and but when she got there, all of the patients had been in trauma, but they were not speaking. So they were either repeating nonverbal trauma, they were not speaking, or they were repeating the same phrase over and over again. So she was not sure what to do because all of her work had been talk therapy based, and she had brought along her brain gym manual and decided to use it. One boy was repeating the same phrase over and over, and something like he was with his grandma and grandpa, and the next thing he knew, his grandma was on fire. So it was obviously super traumatic. And she did one of the movements, which is a lazy 8 movement. She took his hand and did the movement with him.
You want to do it? Show me?
Sure.
Okay.
And it's an infinity sign, and you're crossing the midline right in front of your
I'm
body.
sure the infinity director
I would love that.
Yeah.
So she did that with him, and he
and
stopped.
I noticed you chose my right hand. Is that purposely, or well, that's what I extended. But,
Right. Yeah.
So you
We would do it with both hands.
Yeah.
And so he stopped repeating that phrase and looked at her, and she said it again. And now you're okay. And so it kept working, and she was having these amazing results. But even this.
All right. I think I got to apologize.
Okay.
We got to wrap it up.
Okay.
But for more information about Aimee Edwards, Infinity Foundation, or Inner Quest talk show, stay tuned to the credits at the end. Until next time, wish you good health, good spirits, and good fortune.
Thank
I apologize,
you. No,
Aimee.
that's okay.
For more information about this show, our guests, Infinity Foundation, or any of our other programs, please visit our website, infinityfoundation.org, or call us at 847-831-8828.